Good evening, everyone. Okay, I do not have enough resources like you, Surveyors, so I live in Abiodun, not Lagos. But it's a joy that millionaires like you, professionally successful people, are here to listen to somebody from around here, I know the way you call us. So it's a joy to be here. The chairman said I have been into 4 continents. He forgot to say that that's the Galake, Okiono, Bangura, Owu, the 4 quarters. I have been to those places and I learned my English there as well. So what a joy to be with you. I have been asked to look at some very critical issues very quickly for all of us to understand. Why do we need to talk about effective communication and exceptional service delivery for surveying practice? When you're already making money, when you're already doing well, when you already have built so many houses, and maybe many wives and many children. All right. But I hope you will be able to see the reason why this is vital. And I'm so delighted that you have decided to stay put for this, because it will change your perspectives about a lot of things. Not many people are conscious of the fact that we are not doing well in communication. People. In actual fact, it has been found out that even though we communicate over 75% of the time, we're not doing well with it. And the reason is largely attitudinal, because we think communication is just open your mouth and say whatever you want to say, just ignite your own core. Speak. And speak. Communication is as easy as ABC. Whereas you spent 4 years in the university to learn surveying. Not many of us taking time to learn how to communicate. We think it's just natural. It's not just speaking. And so for years, human beings have just opened their mouth to speak. But you will discover that your ineffectiveness in communication has over the years limited your flight. It has impacted negatively on your effectiveness in business, on your family, and on your life in general. When several years ago I decided to go this route of trying to decipher how to communicate effectively, I have discovered growth, development in virtually every area of my life: family, community, business, and my faith, my religion. Okay, now, the truth of the matter is that communication is a skill to be learned. It doesn't come to you naturally. You can speak naturally, but you cannot communicate naturally. In order for you to communicate effectively, either with your staff or with your client, you've got to be intentional. It will require for you to be proactive, and it will require skill. I do not know what your experience was like the first time you had a theodolite as a surveying student. You probably messed it up, but constant practice made it easy for you to master the skill. It's the same thing with communication. You're going to fumble and tumble, but eventually when you put a great deal of effort in it, and there is a passion and commitment to it, you can improve on it. All right. Then communication is neither natural nor simple. I've said that. It is a complex process. The complexity of communication is found in the fact that we are the drivers of communication, the person speaking and those who are hearing, and all of us are complex. The most complex person you have ever met in your life is the person you saw in the mirror this morning. The truth of the matter is that each of us is so complex that we don't even understand ourselves, talk less of others. Just imagine some of the things you excuse. You know, you can't even pinpoint why you like one child above another. You behave in this pattern, in a reciprocal pattern, in a situation, in a similar situation, you behave differently. We can be irrational. So it's important, therefore, for us to see the complexity of communication process, and it becomes easy for us to be able to master that. The biggest problem of communication, actually, is that we think communication has taken place, whereas it does not. All right, I'll give you an illustration. You go with your technical guys in the field, and in your mind, you had already imagined what you were about to do. And then you hurry them into the place and said, you guys said to work. I hope you understand what you are going to do. And the guys look at you as if you are from another world. Because in your mind, actually, you had already gone through that situation. Because you have developed, you have thought about it, you have imagined it, and you think you have already communicated the details to them, whereas you have not. So oftentimes we hear things like this. You know, somebody said, I can't remember you said that to me. Or somebody says to you, I heard you, but I didn't understand. Guess what your response usually will be? Look, you are not listening. That's why you did not hear me. Then how will you not understand such simple instructions that I've just given to you now? That will show you the complexity of communication. And you've got to repeat yourself again and again, again and again. I remember counseling a young lady whose husband told me that the lady nags a lot. So I went to the lady, the husband was there, said, I understand you nag a lot. So what do you have to say about that? He said, no, it's not nagging, sir. It's just friendly reminders. I said, how come you call it friendly reminders? He said, my mother told me the skull of all husbands are very thick. And you will need to say it like 200 times before it enters. And then you have to say it another 200 times before it begins to process it. And you have to say that 200 times before he takes action. And then you have to say it 200 times to be sure he doesn't change his mind in the middle of the road. And I said, well, this perception that you have about husbands is impacting negatively on your relationship. What are you going to do about that? All of a sudden, she discovered that her nagging was going to destroy the relationship. And then she discovered how complex she was and how handling that complexity, knowing how complex she was and handling that complexity will help her to be a better wife, to make the husband a better husband. Today, they are a beautiful couple. They still have their challenges, which marriage doesn't. But they are doing pretty well because of their change of perception about communication. Now, guess what? Seriously, who is majorly responsible for communication problems? Is it the speaker or the listener? Research says it's about you, the speaker. Because if the person you are communicating to does not hear, if, for example, you tell your client, okay, there is an amount of money that has to go to Surveyors Registration Council, and that is basic, you've got to pay. Then you pay my labor on top of that, and so on and so on. And you think he has maybe you think what is going to go to Surveyors Registration Council is 1 million, and then my services are, that's what you can negotiate. That's about 500,000. So let me know what you are about to pay. And the guy sent 500,000 naira into your account. And then you say, it does not even cover the cost of obtaining what you call numbers. All right, pillar numbers, picking numbers. How can you pay 500? I thought you said it was negotiable. No, I said 500,000 was negotiable. I didn't say 1 million was negotiable. The truth of the matter is that you are responsible for that poor communication. Until The person hears you the way you want him to hear you, you have not communicated. And that's the difference between communication and speaking. And I'm going to show you in a while. Okay, now, communication is different from speaking. Communication has been described as the mutual exchange of information and understanding between the speaker and the audience by any effective means. The operating words in this definition is effective means. Until you are able to create understanding, not just information. You could see there, information and understanding. Until you are able to create understanding, you have not communicated. And you will continue to have challenges with your workmen and so on and so forth. A couple of my friends, when we were in our 30s, well, we are all in our 60s now, came to me and said, aren't you having problems with your house help? Those were the time our children were growing up. And I said, no, I don't have a problem with my house help. They said, we are having a problem with our house help. Those women, those boys and girls will not hear a word. And I sat them down and I said, how do you relate to a kite, for example? A kite didn't go to school. A kite has come to work with you. And then you, madam, told the kite when you were going on a trip for 3 days. All right, there are 3 medications there for Junior and for his brother and for their sister. So this one is for Junior. You give him 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. And then for the one after Junior, you give him 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the night. And then for the last one, this one, you will cut it into 4. You will use 2. I'll cut it into 2. You use 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. I hope you heard. Now, you have spoken, but you have not communicated. Now, the woman came back 3, 4, 5 days after, and then the lady Ekaite had 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the evening. So she applied that across the board, and the 3 kids ended up in the hospital. And then you said, she said, stupid girl. She says, stupid girl. She's an idiot. If Ekaite were that smart, she would not be a house help in the first instance. Even a smart person will find it difficult to cope. You know what my mother will have done? Because that's exactly the way my father recorded my date of birth on the wall inside his room. He used strokes in order for him to remember. So for me, he wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 5. And then July, he did another stroke, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then he now asked somebody to help him write 1957 then. Do you know, by the time I was growing up in school, I could see those lines. And that's the way my father recognized them. And that's the way I will communicate with them too. I would draw strokes to remind him. He couldn't sign his name, but he was educated, learning in his own way. And he knew how people could communicate with him. So people want you to communicate with them the way they will understand. If you have to draw lines for a kite, so be it. If you have to tell those technicians that are going on site something 20 times for them to understand it, so be it. If you have to tell your client 10 times and put it in paper before you go to your site at all, let it be, because otherwise you're going to run into trouble. So effective means is the major challenge. Oh, what did you do? It stopped by itself? Oh, I didn't know. Okay, just need to move back. Okay, all right. Okay, let's quickly move effectively. Now, one thing we need to do in order to be able to take a major challenge of communication out is to learn to build commonality or build relationship with people. And I want to see yourself as person A and the person you are communicating with as person B. Let's suppose B is a client, and that client is new to you. Okay, so it's important that you break the barrier between you and the person. That's what communicators do. And there are ways in which these barriers can be broken. A smile, a soft word. You know, people had wrong perceptions about surveyors. I've seen some fine surveyors, some well-dressed surveyors, but I've been into the offices of some surveyors and I will want to ask if there was a stick that I could apply on the surveyor's bottom. And I want to ask, did he go to school at all? Because you will just see piles of those, what do you call them? Files, and then about the drawings, what do you call that? Plans, and then you will see them tucked away. And when he wants to bring out anything, it takes him like 2 hours to be able to discover them because they are not well filed. So the perception people have about surveyors is that they are learned but not learned. They are educated but not organized. And I think one of the things that anybody wants to do is to alter that. So it will be the brand attraction that will first of all make a client to want to talk to you in the first instance. You know, because if the presentation of yourself and of your office is not that attractive to him, he will not want to talk to you in the first instance. He comes with a perception and said, this riffraff, I don't want to deal with it. Now, but if there is a brand attraction, you've already broken a barrier. You and I know the way the time it was when we were looking for wives to marry, don't we? You know, and then you appeared in a way that was not attractive to the lady. The lady just looked around and just walked away. You know? But apart from the brand attraction, that is the first impression that the girl had about you, you have to be courteous in approach. If you say, well, how do I know the affect no, this one is uncouth. This one is uncouth. But if you say something like, it looks like we have met before. I mean, you just look like we have seen each other before. And then you smile. And then she said, oh, well, maybe, but I can't remember that. And then you begin to look for common ground, because that's the third thing you do in order to be able to build common ground. And then you begin to look for common grounds to build. Wow. So which school did you attend? Oh, I attended St. Teresa's College, Ibadan. Come on, I was in government college. And you girls were like, you know, you know, I don't want to say that, but like our girls. Because we were men and then you were men, you were boys and you were girls. What do I do? Oh, so that you could see me. So we were boys and then you were girls. And then you said, oh my goodness, my brother went to government college, Ibadan. What's the name of your brother? And then Festus what? Akibi. Festus Akibi was a year my junior. So what are you trying to do with the girl? Building common ground. Isn't that the same we're supposed to do with our client? But I've met with professionals, not necessarily surveyors alone, who approaching a new client, we just said, hey, this is our business. This is what we do. So if we do something for you, you will never regret it. You don't even know the person. You have not given him the ease. You have not allowed him to even settle. You have not built bridges with him. The truth of the matter is that in the area of overlap between the two of you, as you begin to discover information and news about each other, that's where effective communication can take place. Otherwise, you could just be speaking alone. And then the guy walks out of your office and said, I will come back. And he never does. And you said, they are following me from home. And it has nothing to do with that. It is just because you have broken rules, because communication is a science as well as it's an art. You know, if it's an art, you have to develop the skill. If it is science, then it is based on proven principles, just like survey practice. So it's therefore important that we learn this and then we can move on. Now, I want you to know that the way you speak depicts who you are. Now, don't tell me you are a nice person and then you speak like a riffraff. Don't tell me you are cultured and you say, customer will late. Don't tell me you went to school and you are saying, that man cannot pay. And you say that to the hearing of the customer, and you just judge a book by its cover, and the guy takes his business elsewhere. It's important that we know that, because as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, he said, who you are, speak so loudly, I can't hear what you are saying. People are not willing to hear you because of your behavior, because of your lifestyle. And therefore, it's important that each of us recognizes that our speech is driven by our value. So if your value, if you don't like your speech, change your value. And then you will be amazed at the impact it is going to have on you. Now, there is one thing professionals have not understood, and not only professionals in Nigeria, professionals across the world, in all the places that I've been. And I have always been an advocate of it, that before you speak to another person, you have spoken to yourself several times. And a lot of our miscommunication arises from the fact that we are speaking badly to ourselves. And because we are not speaking well to ourselves, we are not speaking well to others. Intrapersonal communication is the communication within you. It's Abiodun Fijabi communicating with Abiodun Fijabi. Now, it is yourself talking to it's called self-talk. And the beauty of this is that we think between 400 and 800 words a minute, whereas we speak between 150 and 250 words a minute. So you could see here, we have a deluge, processor inside of us, and where words are churned out. About 4 times the words that will come out of our mouth. So whereas we have a deluge processor in our heart, we have a small orifice through which those words will come out. So you can see there is a race among those 800 words to come out of the small 150 words per minute. Only those nonsensical words we want to run faster and come out. Unless effort is made, you will say a word to a client, you will say a word to a technical guy, you will say a word to your supplier, and the guy will be annoyed. And you will say, I don't even know when that came out of my mouth. How many of you have found yourself in that kind of a situation before? Right? And you wonder why. Because those words that are volatile have greater speed than the words that are measured, words that are important, words that build up, words that elevate your business, words that take you to the next level. So it therefore behoves you to be careful how you speak and to negotiate the words, the 150 words out of the 800 that will come out of your mouth. And that's the beauty. That's where thinking comes in. All right. So the quality of your self-talk determines the quality of your communication with others. If you are finding it difficult to keep your customers, this may just be one of the ways. I met a professional several years ago, and he said, Mr. Fijabi, will you do me a favor? Will you come to my office and stay somewhere and watch how I approach my client? By the time he was a medical doctor. He has died now, so it's no longer alive. That's why I'm using words. And by the time I stayed there for about 3 hours, I understand the reason why. Even with me present there, he couldn't hide. He shouted at the nurses, screamed at the clients. He never was empathetic towards the people he was dealing with. One guy in his account that he was always shouting at ran away with about 5 million naira from his business because he said, the only thing I can do to make this man to pay for all the insults he has heaped upon me is to run away with his money. He thinks his wife, and I'm going to deal with it. And the guy left a note. So don't look for me, oh, I've gone outside the country. And okay, all right. Or you can use theodolite to bring him back. Okay, now look at this. Good thinking is a product of healthy esteem. And this is something I like to sell to this group today. My wonderful surveyors. I mean, yours is the oldest profession. Come on, let's make the oldest profession more attractive than it is. Oftentimes we're looked down upon by other professionals, whereas ours is so basic. Without it, what else can you do in the built area, what do you call it, built area business? That's nothing we could do. All right, I happen to be an engineer before. I happen not to be an engineer, and then I became a public speaker and trainer. So, but I still have the engineering mind. But a healthy esteem is so vital to any of you that want to learn to communicate well. That is the fact that you love yourself. You are proud of who you are. You are excited about your profession. I have never loved any other profession as much as the one I do. There are some of my friends who can pay my salary 10 times over because they are rich, bloody rich. But when I talk about what I do, they all stand up and applaud because I love what I do. Several years ago, I flew into Chicago, and my friends flew from different parts of the US to meet me. They were classmates in the university, and they heard the way I was talking about what I do. Oh, I had been in the US just 2 months before then, and here was I coming back, all expenses paid by organizations who wanted to hear me speak. And the guys were looking at me and said, maybe you don't have as much money as we have, but we're not as happy as you are. And I said, are we measuring happiness here? I thought each of you should be proud of who you are, what you do. They thought I would be excited and I would be happy and say, help me. No, I was so disturbed that I lashed at them. And I said, come on, you've got to love what you do. You've got to be excited about your life because it's going to affect everything else. So a healthy esteem is very important. Then a big mental attitude. We're going to be talking about this as we go into exceptional delivery. A positive attitude. The fact that you wake up in the morning and you are excited about life, for God's sake. In the last, I'm 65, but in the last 40 years of my life that I've understood some of these things that I'm talking to you about, I have never woken on the wrong side of the bed. Whether I have money or not, I stay positive. I believe there will be a solution to a problem. I am who I am today because of my positive mental attitude. And of course, this is backed up by an enthusiastic attitude, a can-do attitude. It will work out well. All will be well. Everything will be all right. I'm enthusiastic about this job or this client. I'm going to do the best. And that enthusiasm, as you will discover, should be introduced as a lifestyle so that whether it's a small job, a 500,000 naira job, or a 500 million naira job, it will not matter at all. It will be the same level of enthusiasm because it is part of your life. It is not something you just pull in and pull out at will. enthusiastic attitude, and finally, a purpose for life, the kind of passion that you have, that your life is meaningful, that you are going somewhere, that you are not just part of the number. Oh my goodness, my wife followed me to a meeting in the US. Did I say US? United States of Abiodun. And the one lady walked up to her and said, Mope, they didn't know how to pronounce Mopelola. Mope, if I were married to Abi, to them Abiodun is too short, so they decided to elongate it to Abi. And then she said, if I were married to Abi, I will always tell him how good a person he is. I would want to encourage him so that he could do more. Look at the way he has tasted that. And this is almost a 90% white. And my wife said, sure. And the lady didn't know what that meant. And my wife said, no, Abiodun Fijabi doesn't need that. Said, one thing I know about Abiodun Fijabi is that Abiodun Fijabi is Abiodun Fijabi's #1 fan. Whether you tell him he's a good person or not, he knows on the inside of him that is good and there are bad spots about him too. And he loved himself. And that was the best my wife has ever said about me. And he said it behind my back. I had to say, all right, ask me anything up to half of my kingdom and I will give it to you. And guess what he said? I've already had the half. I'm ready for the remaining half. So you see, in order to be an effective communicator, you must learn to turn down the volume of your negative inner voice that is trying to tell you you are not important, you are not vital, you have made mistakes in your life, and then you will end up a failure. Come on, why would you allow that? And then instead of that, create a nurturing inner voice to take its place. So when you make a mistake, forgive yourself. And for me, you then move on. Come on. I know people whose lives have been destroyed because of one mistake. Because of one mistake, their lives have been destroyed. Whatever it is. A lady walked up to me and said, I've made the greatest mistake of my life. My protection failed. And my husband and I are going to have another baby. That is 15 years after we had the last. He said, my life is in ruin. And then she thought I was going to support her. I waited until she gave back to that lovely son. That son is now 7, 8 years old. And I said, but before, immediately after, and I went to the house, and my wife and I sat down with her, and we let her know that all things work together for good. We don't understand why this happened, because you made all the protection. So it was not a mistake of yours. So if it's not a mistake, even if it's a mistake, you can deal with it. And then she looked at me, how do I deal with it? I said, okay, create new memories, fresh success, fresh success. He said, I would like to read law. I said, come on, go and read law. And then she went to read law. And then she created new memory. Today, she's hugely successful, but more than being successful, she's happy. No, look, not a mistake should define you. The same way one success should not define you. There must be a determination to keep moving forward. Now, there is a major challenge that we have in communication. We are usually very reactive in our communication. All right? Because we've already looked at someone just the way some other professional will see you and say, who are you? They say you are a surveyor. Okay? All right, let's talk to the engineers first. Let's talk to the architect first. Because of the perception they have. But you and I know Surveyor Kukoi, of blessed memory, is surveyor. His Jude is grand. I had opportunity to meet him severally in the course of his career. Visited his home severally because it was close to one of his daughters was my friend, and I met this guy. He made survey practice to be a joy to behold. And he set up an association of professionals and became the first president of that association. It's amazing the kind of thing one man did because he just broke the taboos around surveyors and he stood tall anywhere he found himself. And if you talk to him, you will see some of the secrets is here. Reactive response, reactive communication. Those who are reactive in their communication, and most of us are, they often speak before they think, endangering their relationship. How many times have you told a client it's not possible? And one of the things professionals should never say to a client is no. There are ways to be able to say it without saying no. Mr. Surveyor Fijabi, I would like to have this next week. Oh my goodness. I know how important this is to you. Next week, that would be great to be able to produce this. You know, I was going to try our best. You know, but if we're not able to meet that deadline, which other deadline would you like to think about? Remember, I've not said no. Now, what a no to a customer means is that you are unfilling, you are nasty, you are insolent, and you are not worthy of my custom. So there has to be a better way of saying some of these things. As a professional man, I hardly say no. I'm just coming from a client now. I've been with the client for the past 2 days. And being a client with 2 days, public speaking, it means huge amounts of money at my own level. And I'm not crying, okay? All right? Because he has done me well. But the truth of the matter is that he came up with a fee that I knew I would never take. And I said, wow, that's something. Wow. That could buy a piece of land somewhere, just not in Banana Island. And then he smiled. And I said, okay, can I tell you the last fee that I earned for this period of time? And I mentioned it. Oh, Mr. Fijabi, I can't pay that. I said, he's asking you to pay that. All right. So, are you still insisting on that one? And then he said, okay, then you shoot that ground. I didn't say no. Because when you say no, people recoil to their shell. And then you don't want to say that. Okay? So, they make up their mind about it. Now, people who are reactive in their communication, they rely on what communicators call initial reaction. That's the initial feeling that comes to you, something that strikes you first. Like your husband comes in from the office and you are there ahead of him, you have been home ahead of him, and then you see a lipstick mark on his shirt pocket. And then the likelihood is that if you have a bottle, you will smash it on his head. And if it's a deacon in the church or an allergy, you say, hey, and you call yourself a religious person. And this is the best you can do. So all the stories I've been hearing about you are true. But if your husband now says, and Helene now comes in, your sister who has been away in the US for 14 years, because you are going to be 50, and then secretly the two of them were communicating, and Helene came to Nigeria because of your 50th birthday. And you quickly figure it out that Helene must have given the lipstick mark to. And then you began to say, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And your husband would like to know, when you said people have been saying things about me. No, it was just my mouth, my imagination, the things I've been thinking about, you know. But what stopped you from saying it in your mind? You know, remember, you have 150 words that your mouth can take. You have 800 words that are locked up inside of you. Why don't you negotiate the 150? Instead of saying, you stupid idiot, why did you get this? Why don't you say, that stupid idiot inside of you? And then say, honey, please look at your pocket, your shirt pocket. And then you say inside, answer me correctly before I kill you. Well, you know, your Yorubas are very nice. They said you will put red saliva inside, and then you spew out the white. Okay, that's exactly. You know, it's the same thing we're talking about. And then you will now say, honey, so where did you get the? You even fake a smile. Where did you get that? And you have to do a lot of faking here because there are some customers that you don't like, but you like their money. And you have to fake, so you are happy and you are excited to have them, even though you want to leave their presence as soon as possible. But you don't want to leave until they are paid their dues and they are good paying customers. And then, if your husband had said, Ellie, come in, and then you'll have said, honey, you know, I trust you. I always trusted you. When I saw that lipstick mark, I said, it must be a mistake somewhere. Because you have the best thing that has happened to me. Okay. You are my knight, you're the knight in my shining armor. Okay. All right. Now, let's look at the other side of it. Let's look at the proactive response. The proactive response is what saves the day with your client as well as with your staff. In proactivity, you delay your response until you understand the actions of your listeners. A customer comes to you and screams at the top of his voice instead of blanking your face and saying, what rubbish? Then it's so no. Just say, wow, you must really be mad. And then say, I'm mad, I am mad, but I'm not shouting. Okay, you are not shouting. That's okay. Colin, please, will you get a cup of water? No, I don't want water. It must be really serious. I empathize with you. And I apologize for whatever may make you to feel like you are feeling now. Imagine if a surveyor says that to a treasured client, and the client eventually cools down. People don't remember the positive words you say about them, but they remember the negative words. The abuses, the side talk, the one you say when you think the client has left, and you say it to your staff, and they hear it. A client of mine was telling me, one day he had a client come, and the client was a very horrible client. And he went to the back, and he was telling these people, go and give that ownership, go and give him. And before they got to the sitting room, the man had gone, and he went away with his money. So we need to be proactive. Now, proactivity is the power that you have to choose your response. People have said to me, I said that because of what you said. That means that you have no power over your words. You abuse me and abuse you back. The other day, my wife came back from school, and then she stood by the dresser, removing her, all the things that they put on. And then I said, honey, welcome. She said, don't welcome you, don't welcome you, don't welcome you. I wondered what really happened. And I said, what is wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with me. It's you that something is wrong with. She doesn't usually do that. So what may have gotten over her? And then she began to say some unbreakable things that I cannot say here. And then, am I a boy? Anybody here from the Bible? Okay, you say it there instead of dying, and die there if necessary. And but I have to ask myself, will I have to return fire for fire? If I said what I wanted to say at the back of my mind, those 150 words that I wanted to come out of my mouth, will I be proud of Abiodun Fijabi again? Is that my value system? So I decided not to say that. As I was thinking, I just imagined my wife. You know, if I had three appointments, 3 trips to make, my wife would create 3 bags. And then we put on this there, we put singlets there, we put shoes there, and then we put the different shirts there. And as she's running around, she's also going to the kitchen. And then she will come back and she will continue to do it. And I was so enamored by her. And I would be playing with her, I would be praising her. I would go and touch her. And then she would say, come on with me, I'm busy. And I said, this is a CEO of a company doing this for a man who does not deserve it. And I would look at her like this and say, thank you, God. I know friends who will say, I would never allow my wife to act for me. I am a very neat, very conscientious person, and I am very organized. Unfortunately, I am not that organized. And I have a woman who's that organized, and she fills the void for me. So as I saw that picture in my mind, you know what I said? I said, honey, you are a liar. I said, you're calling me a liar for what? Because you love me. And those words we're saying were not from your heart, but from your mouth. Because you packed my bags for me. You remember? You packed my bag. And then she looked at me and said, no. I said, what happened? He said, two of my students are not coming back and start. Their parents are relocating to Canada. It's not about the money. It is that one of them will have made one A1 in 9 subjects. She is that good. Where do I start from? I built up these children, and Canada is going to inherit all my hard work. So I said, come to Papa, come to Papa, come to Papa. Come to Papa. And we had fun. Now, imagine if I've allowed the Ibadan in me to come out, I will have destroyed the situation for them. So that's what we are saying. All right, I'd like you to look at the impulse consideration speech dynamics quickly. You see, you hear, you taste, you smell, you talk. Those are the 5 ways in which we gather information. If on the basis of that you speak, it's obvious which kind of communication is that. It is reactive. But if you create a buffer and you are able to think, consider, pray, clarify before you speak, that will be proactive. And that's what you should do. And each of you should be able to say this as I try to close. I enhance my understanding as a proactive man by pondering on what I say and seeking clarifications where necessary. I hope you will be able to say, I am not responsible for what you say and how you say it. You are you, and I am me. I am only responsible for the way I respond to you. So I am intentional about my speech. I am not accident. I'm not an accident. I'm a so I listen to understand, not to respond. I listen to you so that I can hear you well. I delay gratification by not responding immediately when you speak. This allows me to gather my thoughts and to connect with my values. That's what I did. I kept quiet, so I was able to have a measured response, and I was able to connect back to not my Ibadanese, but my values. The values that I've developed over the years that have made me a household name in the area where God has called me. I respond based on my values, not on my initial reaction. I want to assure you that you are going to get a PDF of this on your phone. All right, so what are the tips that you need? Don't frontally attack your speaker's value, no matter, even if it's a child. All right, let me give you an illustration of a car dealer right here in Lagos. He was telling me at a course that I organized, and he said there was a call girl who would stay like 100 meters away from my office. Because she was not staying in front of my office, there was no reason for us to say, get away from here. And she was staying on the government road. Nobody can stop. I can't stop. I can't stop her. So anytime I drove past, and I'll say, "You girl again," and they will say, "Oh, we have to survive." And then I would look for 500. I would look for 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and I will send it to her. And then she would kneel down, and then she would thank me. I know that you are not the kind of person that will patronize us, but you are nice or you are good. Your wife must be enjoying you. Do you know this lady brought a man friend, who just decorated her, made her look different. The skimpy dresses, well, it could be for a short period of time or it could be for long. I don't know, my friend didn't say. And the guy bought 5 cars. And the guy asked some other friends to begin to buy cars. So be careful. When you frontally attack people's values, you call, get out, walk away. You just lose the custom of the big guy. Be careful. Be careful. They're frontally attacking even your technicians, the survey technicians. Some of them will get jobs. They will not even ask you to come and sign. They will just pick someone else. All right, you think we don't know what's happening? All right. Don't advise, don't judge, don't sermonize or flatter. That's not what you are here for. Don't attack personality, attack the problem. If somebody speaks harshly to you, don't say that's an insult to me, and I will not take that from anybody. Don't say, oh my goodness, is that the way you see me, sir? The real issue is on the ground. We haven't addressed it. Do you want us to address it, sir? You have conquered him by that response. And he will remember this. He will never associate a negative comment to you. And that helps you. You know, listen attentively, maintain eye contact. Don't say, I'm listening, I'm listening, I'm listening. Customer, continue to talk. Continue to talk. So you will also pay how many acres left? 17. No, I didn't say 17, I said 27. 27. Okay. So if I will ever cash here, I saw. Oh, Olani, okay, all right. Okay, all right. Money is standing in front of you, and you are still losing concentration over something that is not coming. Englishman says a bread in hand, a board in hand. All right? And the law of customer relations is that the customer is the one right standing in front of you. Every other customer is not a customer. The one that is right in front of you now deserves your maximum attention. All right? Feedback must be specific and all that. And that is the way you will be able to deal with negative things that you want to say about a client. Always use a sandwich approach. Sandwich approach helps you to give soft landing to somebody who is talking to you and you don't like what they have done or what they have said. Okay, so the client said, this is a lousy survey practice. And you said, sir, as soon as you came in, the first thing that occurred to me was the new car that you just bought. I peeped over the window and I saw that good car and I said, that's my man. Positive. Then when you called us lousy, I said to myself, we must have offended you greatly. But you know, it is not in your character to say such things about us because you've always helped us over the years to develop, and you have been one of the factors that we have. Have I told him that he has offended us? I have, but I have said it skillfully that how can you call us lousy? But I've not seen, we are not lousy. I put it to you that we are not lousy. You are not a lawyer. I am not interrogating anybody. You know, so when you do that, even to your staff, even to your children, even to your spouse, you will be amazed at the impact it will have. People will be willing to assist you. All right, let's quickly close by looking at exceptional service delivery. Exceptional service delivery is built on communication effectiveness, and it equals customer satisfaction. Are you satisfying your customer, your client? Are they happy about you? You know, you need to quickly understand that the customer service is very vital. It is the act of taking care of the customer's need by providing and delivering professional, helpful, high-quality service and assistance before, during, and after the customer's requirements are met. A friend of mine told me about this surveyor that he paid money. Instead of him paying to Surveyor Registration Council, where he would get the number, he paid some number, and then they put some numbers there. But then he would not give the red copy because he knew that it was not the red copy. And so my friend waited for 2 months. After he had done the field work and he had gotten the authentic results, we now discover that he just put the money into maybe not marrying a second wife, but into something else. And so he kept lying and lying and lying and lying. And my friend who lives abroad said, don't ever give my job to him. I said, I was not the one who gave the job in the first instance. The land is not in Abiodun. It's somewhere I don't want to mention. Okay? All right. So look at this. Exceptional customer service delivery is the unconditional commitment to giving the highest level of product or service to every person, regardless of the circumstances. But I don't care who you are, it will be exceptional service. All right? You see the unconditional commitment, you will see the highest level that I can ever produce. You will see every person, regardless of the circumstances, even if I have to do it at a loss. Just so that I can satisfy one customer. Can I tell you something? One dissatisfied customer would tell 9 people. That's what they thought it was until when social media came. And one dissatisfied customer can now tell 10,000 people. So you don't want a dissatisfied customer. So you say, come on. Church members say, club member. Now, exceptional service delivery is a profit center, not a cost center. You don't think of it like a cost by trying to be exceptional in what you do. It's actually a profit center because this is what brings profit. And it has to be proactive, not reactive. Now, let's quickly look at the different levels of customers. There are 3 levels, majorly. There is the loyal customer, there is the satisfied customer, there is the dissatisfied customer. The one you don't want to mess with is the loyal customer. Those ones who give you repeat business. They are the ones who will be willing to do a job for and not collect money immediately. Because you know they will be there for you. The other day, Delta Airline they misplaced my bag. The US, they said, Mr. Fijabi, oh my goodness, because I'm a platinum card holder. I was a platinum card holder. I lost the platinum level during COVID. No, platinum card holder, oh my goodness, that's very tough. Then they said, Mr. Fijabi, we are going to pay you for the delay. And they paid me. I got to Nigeria. Nigeria said, no, we're going to pay you again for the delay. And then they said, Mr. Fijabi, the next 2 trips you make out of Lagos, even if you don't, so you buy economy class, we'll put you in business class. Said, come on, let's go do it. And my bag came back. And there was nothing wrong with my bag. My bag was a little torn, and then they bought a new one or gave me money. Instead of, they wanted to buy a new one, I said, no, give me money if you got it. And they gave me money if you got it. And I went to buy a better bag than the one I lost. I am a loyal customer. Even when KLM is offering 200,000 naira lower, I will fly Delta. Every time they take me to the next class. Almost every time. You know, then you have satisfied customer. Those ones that you have done sufficient for their expectations of the surveyor were met. But you know, those who became loyal is because you went beyond expectations. And then you have the dissatisfied customers. Those ones were not happy with you. And the sad thing is that 94% of them will not tell you. And I will show you in a moment. 68% of your loyal business that you lose will be because of your wrong attitude, for your sorrow, for your share, for your come back. 68% of the time that you lose a loyal customer, it is not because he moved to another country, it is because of your attitude. So you see, we've got to change the attitude. Now, more business is lost every year through neglect than through any other. It's not because of economic situation all the time. Don't assume that the lack of complaints is equal to a satisfied customer base. The fact that they don't complain to you does not mean that they are satisfied. And I'll show you in a moment. Okay? Now, statistics suggest that when customers complain, business owners, surveyors ought to get excited about their complaint. Don't say, you always complain, that man, cheap. And I don't even know where he got his money from. Complaining customers are your best bet. The complaining customer represents a huge opportunity for more business. So you will see it's an attitudinal thing now. I hope you are changing that from today because it's going to help you. Now, for repeat business, 3 things you must do to keep your loyal customer and to reduce the number of, to move your satisfied customer to your loyal, to become loyal, and then to eliminate the dissatisfied customers completely. You've got to go the extra mile, show empathy, and show positive attitude. Let's quickly do that as we close. Now, if you go the extra mile, you will never lose. If instead of a particular line paper, you introduce colored paper, instead of just asking them to come into your office, you introduce coffee and tea. Instead of just asking your secretary to call a loyal customer, you call the customer yourself, and before you say you are not paid, you said, I spy your child that you said was taken to the hospital in London. And then your loyal customer said, hey, so your Fijabi remembers that. She's doing very well. Thank you very much. And thank you for your prayers, even though you may not have prayed. And then you said, okay, that's okay. I believe that must be responsible for why we are not heard from you. But please take your time, sir. And he said, no, I'm paying right away. Are you sure? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, you still remember the account details? Money's gone out. All right. Look, there are no traffic jams on the road on the extra mile because not so many people are flying that road. So no traffic jam. So that's the place you should be, where you do the extra. You know, when Garage Bank came and they started, you know, you hear in the Keja, you know, from somebody will come and meet you at the car park, and then if it's raining, they will take the umbrella, and then they will welcome you in, and a cup of tea will be given to you. How many of you remember that Allen Avenue? That was where I had my first GTV, and I enjoyed it while it lasted. And then you don't do much of that anymore. Rocco, you guys stop. Okay. All right. So, but the extra, and then you see the customer base increase. We didn't give them the opportunity to survive. We said, no, we'll stay with First Bank. We'll stay with UBA. And my money is safer there. All right. Look at that. Apart from First Bank, how many of them are in the top 5? Eh? Those old banks, how many of them are in the top 5? You know? So, but you will see the extra mile has paid off. In order to go the extra mile, you have to pursue excellence. That will be the best that can come out of you in terms of presentation. In terms anything whatsoever. You have a folder. I went to a lawyer's chamber, and it has the normal folder, not now 400 naira. Oh no, I used my money to print a folder for him. He paid back. Oh. It cost me 100,000 to print a set of 1,000 folders for him, and he paid me 200,000 for it. He can afford it. Oh, on the excellence in the job. It's just the pursuit of excellence, doing things extraordinarily, and then be proactive. Imagine what your clients might need and give to them more than that. That will require for you also to be empathetic. I talked about empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in the place of your customer. Oh, Mr. Empele. Oh, that should delay. You really hurt me now. But if I told you that we already dropped the plan in your office, would you believe me? We dropped it 2 days ago. Ah, how come my office didn't tell me? I actually called your secretary and she apologized that she didn't pass it. Oh, so Fijabi, you know what I told them? I said, that's it. That's it. Oh, you have proved to me that you are indeed a great man. Thank you so very much. But you could see empathy there. But for you not to be empathetical, and then you just say, yeah, we have just done with the family. And then you're not positive. The guy said, I need help. Mr. Fijabi, I need help. I need for you to go to site tomorrow. And you say it's not possible. It's not possible at all. But when you are positive, there is nothing that cannot be done. Then you thought about it. I said, Engineer Thomas, this is going to be a tough call for us, but we will make effort because the owners of the land have to be there, so a surveyor must be on ground. All right, I can assure you a surveyor will be on ground, and you don't have an idea how a surveyor will be on ground. And then here you are, as soon as you left, as soon as you leave, you just put your head behind on your chair like this, and you begin to think away, and ideas come to you who you can call. And then you call them one after another, and one of them agrees to do that. And then you said, you know what? I'm going to pay 50,000 for you to go to make that trip. Come back. And the junior surveyor said, okay, thank you so very much. I appreciate you for that. The customer is satisfied because you have created a possibility out of impossibility. Whether you think you can or you cannot, you are right. That's what Henry Ford said. So if you feel it's possible, then it is possible. If you feel it's not possible, it's not possible. I'd like you to take a look at it. This is the way Chinese describe crisis. And you will see it has two compartments. It has two parts, two segments. One is red, meaning risk. The other one is green, representing opportunity. That is, with every crisis, there is a risk dimension and there is also the opportunity dimension. Unfortunately, you and I always see the risk, dimension. So let's look at it. So you have an obstacle. With the obstacle, there is also an opportunity. If you have a positive mindset, all right, okay, all right, that should be a designing surveyor. You will be able to create positivity and you will inspire hope and self-belief that will move you to the opportunity. Let me quickly check. Please, 1 minute. I don't want to forget. I will be done shortly. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I still was given time. Okay, all right. So this is the way it works. So with your positive mindset, you are able to move as a designing surveyor to opportunity, from obstacle challenge to opportunity. And then that positivity helps to inspire hope in you and self-belief. Just because you say we will do it, you will be amazed at the way forces of nature will support that statement that you made and will make it possible. Right. Impossibility, I'd like you to take a look at this. It's still in the dictionary. and it will ever be in the dictionary. But a lot of what we consider impossibility are not really impossible. It's our mindset that say they are impossible. So when we take yourself, the I am from impossibility, what do you have? So why don't you kick it up? And then you're able to create possibility. And you are able to look at challenges in the face of a customer and say, we will do it. It will be possible. And impossibility becomes possibility. Now, let's look at this as we close. 94% of the satisfied customers will not complain to you, but they will go and complain to some other people. 94%. That is, if you have 100 clients who are dissatisfied, 94 of them will not complain. So, 6 will complain. And those 6, you are likely going to lose because hey, just complaining and complaining and complaining and complaining. Get away. Stop. If his money is removed from my money, I will still be successful. I don't even want to deal with it. It doesn't pay. Just pays the money for Socom. But you and I know that the money for Socom profit they are already now. And the profit don't pay. Oh, yeah, tell me now. Profit don't pay. Oh, yeah, tell me. Let's move on. Okay, now. So is it good or bad for complaint? No, it's bad. It's good. So, and we should encourage it. So how do you handle customer complaints? If well handled, 85% of dissatisfied customers can be converted to loyal customers. If you handle them very well with empathy, and you are able to learn how to deal with them, and you have ways of finding out what is wrong with a surveyor, having a feedback form and said, you have just done a survey for someone, and you said, sir, I am calling. My name is Surveyor Abiodun Fijabi. I'm a fellow Nigerian surveyor. You gave me a job at the other time. I said, it was your man I saw. Okay, all right, sir. I was outside the country when you did that. But I'm back now. I am calling to find out, was there any problem? I said, no problem, no problem. You know, if you say no problem, no problem today. All right, okay, sir. Okay, you will not come up with any problem. Are there areas in which you want us to improve? Anyone want more here in the care go back. How many they are lousy. The button is stop when she man sorrow. It's a push on here. I think you are okay. All right, sir. I can assure you the next time you give us a job, we're going to give you 10% discount. I can't wait for another job coming from you, just to show you that we have changed. We're going to address the situation, and we're going to make sure. You're going to find out what technicians went with them, or which surveyor or junior surveyor went with them. You're going to find a way to either remove them from the team or have a training for them. You can call me to come and train them. Okay, so you have to find a way of getting a feedback from your customer. A customer you have not seen for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you only call him again when he said there is a business. You are not cultivating relationship. How about calling him? How about sending him a text? How about telling him, find out how he's doing? And he said, I don't have another job. No, I'm not calling you for a job. I just want you to know that we care about you. And is there anything that we can do to help you? He said, I remember Chief Augustus said he needs a surveyor. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Okay, I will send you the number. Okay, no, you don't need to send me the number. Can I just stay online as you dictate the number? You know the mind is. So when you want to help to handle customer complaint, you listen calmly and sympathetically. You apologize for the customer's feeling, not for your role in causing them. You don't say our company is having problem, our survey practice is having problem. No, don't say that. Don't destroy yourself. Say, I am sorry the way you feel about us. And your boys are rude. I am sorry that you feel that way about our boys. Don't say, I am sorry that our boys are rude. Because that means you are fronting him. And you may just be wrong. So, your office is dirty. Okay, I'm sorry. That's the way you feel about our office. Okay, you need to apologize and then clarify issues. Great. And you said that
one woman abused you. Can you describe the woman that abused you to me? And the woman happens to be your wife, who came to the office and then said, which customer is this? We greeted him, he did not even reply. He did not respond. Who says a customer must respond to your husband as long as he brings money? Who says he has to be nice to you, his wife? So you go home and tell Madam, please, I beg you, that man that you were rude to in my office, I'm going to ask that you place a call to him. And you're going to apologize. And you only apologize, so oh rude me, fellow judge. Explain without blaming or defending, portraying others in good light. Don't say that shady boy, the technical, the guy is just learning to be a surveyor. And look at the way he said he was rude to you. He's a horrible boy. That boy is a horrible boy. No, don't say that about any of your staff. Just apologize on their behalf. Don't lay blame. You know, that's the way to do it, because the man will think you don't even have good character, you don't have good people. Agree on a practical and physical course of action to be taken, and take action. Act properly. All right, this is where I'm closing. You need to deal with an angry customer. How do you deal with an angry customer? There's so many of them. You know, remain calm. The calmness of your spirit is what is going to make him, will solve the problem. I was in a bank the other day, and a lady came, and she was shouting on the top of her voice on the banking hall. And I was, as a communicator and as a trainer, I was trying to look at how the staff were going to handle her. Oh my goodness, they handled her very well. Madam, you are really mad about her. I'm mad! We apologize that we made you feel mad. And you guys are really madder than me. And then she was saying all kinds of things. And they said, you have a bottle of water. And eventually he said, water. Okay, let me have water. Give her water. And eventually they said, would you like to have some tea? Tea? He said, no, I don't want tea. I thought he wanted to say, no tea. He said, bring me coffee. And before long, she was trying to tell them how not to offend people like her again. And then he began to smile. And they said, I need and then one of them said, Madam, the other time you came and you asked for new notes, and we didn't have new notes. We have new notes now. I said, good! We need no notes. Give 500,000 naira. I said, okay, we will look for it. We have one man, no, 300. Oh, you shake. You guys are nice people. What you say you mean now? Don't take it personal, even if they insult you. Don't take it personal. They insult you. All right. So what does that take away from you? Will people see you on the street and say, you see that man? You see insults written all over his face. Oh, this man has been roundly, beautifully insulted. Nobody will know. So just take it up. Deploy your best business skills to him or her. Show sympathy. Say, if I were in your shoes, I would be this upset. So I can understand why you are upset. And then apologize. Say, I'm sorry you are not happy with our services. Let me see what I can do to make it right for you. And then find a solution to the problem and take time to empathize with yourself after review. Now, what I'm saying is this. This is where I'm closing. I was invited to somewhere in your Ikeja here to come and speak to a group of people. They were millionaires and successful business people. But at that time, my economy was having problems. So I couldn't come with a car. So I picked a bus from Abiodun to K2. And then I took a car from K2, a taxi from K2 to Ikeja. All right. Aromire now on Awolowo, the road that joins Aromire to what? Adeniji Jones. All right. At that time, it was one way. Now it's two way. So you had to go up there and go to America before you now turn left, right to Adenijo. Meanwhile, there was heavy traffic. Okada had just come to Nigeria at that time. So I took Okada to take me to where I was going, because if I asked the taxi to go, I would be late. So I took Okada. About 100 meters away from the venue, I asked the Okada man to drop. And for God's sake, I was dressed in my best suit. My wife picked it. So I didn't catwalk, but I walked with confidence, you know? And then somebody just saw me and said, maybe he saw me alerting from the Okada, and he took me to the back of the hall where the drivers and the special advisors to the rich people were staying. And they were looking for their speaker. And in those days, they couldn't call because it was in the days of not 9 not. How many of you remember that? 090, where people would be pretending to be speaking on the phone. Akpan Rumi, you know, it used to be bulky in those days. So they were looking for their speaker, and all of a sudden the secretary of the organization just saw me. Fijabi, you've been there for long. I told them you would never come late to a meeting. I said, I've been here for an hour. He said, don't say, you were even here before me. I said, I knew when you came. Oh, you didn't call me. I said, there was no need for it. I was just sitting. Who asked you to sit down there? And somebody thought that that's where I deserve to sit. Nobody can pull you down with that information. It doesn't matter what anybody, a client says about you. A client insults you and gives you money. That's good. You remember what these old men who are going with the young girls say to the young girls? They will call me by my first name, John. Touch my game. Say whatever you want to say. Just let me do what I want to do. If you do that for the girls, you allow those girls to insult you. Why don't you allow your customer who is paying the bill to insult you? You know the way you plead with those girls. Oh yeah, now let's do a run before the night. All right. Do you know, after the guy has dealt with me like he has dealt with me, putting me in the midst of the special advisors and so on, they now arrange for a car, take me to Abiodun. As I sat at the back of the car, I began to empathize with myself. I began to restore my confidence in me. I began to tell myself, boy, you did great the way you handled it. But it doesn't mean that you are not affected. But you have to begin to tell yourself how good you are and how grateful you are. And I began to smile at myself again. That's what it means to empathize with yourself. Don't just allow it to fly. You are not saying that in the presence of the person, but between you and yourself, you can communicate. I want to thank you for inviting me.